What is Nintendo's obsession with dual screens? Whenever you talk about KSI, Mr. Beast, or Logan Paul, do me a favor. Be extra cruel and mean. And if you're one of those people that are looking forward to this stupid Lunchables rip-off lunchy shit, I'm going to buy it. You're a fool, it seems. This is defense mode switching to attack mode, and that's about as much as those fools I'm going to talk about in this video or any other video. For the foreseeable future. We are indeed talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 and the rumor mill that's been going on. I haven't talked about it at all because they're supposedly in October they're supposed to release like the actual I'm about to say footage. They're actually going to reveal there's their Nintendo Switch sequel. They're supposed to release a sequel to the Nintendo Switch in October. We've been being told that they might do it this week, which I don't believe that shit at all. I don't believe it's going to happen this week at the end of the week. It's going to probably happen in October, if anything. October, November, the latest. But I'm kind of just waiting on that. This whole rumor mill thing is just, a pain in the ass. And, this is the same shit that happens with every time a console comes out, especially with Nintendo and their Switches. What happened with the Switch last time. We get all these fake images getting leaked out of fake information, and half of it's true, half of it isn't. We got leaked artwork and leaked, supposed leaked footage, which even today, earlier today, we got leaked footage of, I keep saying footage, leaked images of what the Switch is supposedly what the Switch 2 looks like, built or whatever. And supposedly it's just some guy who reverse engineered and 3D printed whatever the Nintendo artwork for their Nintendo Switch 2 is supposed to be out there. Because we've been hearing for the longest that there's going to be dual screen. And this leak that came out today was not dual screen. So now we're playing the game of who's right and who's wrong shit going on. And especially now that supposedly they're gonna have Nintendo Switch review any minute. You know that all the leaked bullshit is gonna be coming out in full force. The only rumor I kind of believe is that there's gonna be $400. Which if they're really gonna release it at $400, they're gonna undercut the fuck out of the Sony's PS5 Pro. I don't think the PS5 Pro is going to sell well anyway. But, yeah, the Nintendo Switch is going to undercut the fuck out of that. If consoles are going to start being that expensive, they're going to have to start doing, payment plans the same way these companies do with phones and shit. But GameStop, I don't know if GameStop, if they're smart, they will do that. Or even Amazon or whoever else sells these consoles and stuff. But anyway, the Switch 2. So is it dual screen? Is it not dual screen? We don't fucking know. But I could easily see them doing dual screen. Nintendo DS is the second best selling console of all time behind the PS2. Just a few million copies off. I remember the last time I checked, the PS2 was at 157, was it 257? And the DS was like 254. It was literally just a few million behind it. So I can see why Nintendo would want to, hey, now that we have this super successful, it's more successful than the Wii. It's pretty much our second best-selling console behind the DS. Why not implement that DS? We already have all of the Wii features on the Switch, the whole motion control shit, which is now just a side thing that consoles have. But I can see them being hey, let's implement the thing that made our best-selling console of all time, the dual screen. And let's implement it into our Switch. So I could easily see them doing that. The thing is, are they really gonna do that in place of a big screen Switch like they had in the first one? And be the only brand in the market with a dual screen where we have Steam Decks and all the other ones with these big ass screens? So the obvious answer you think would be hey, they're just gonna have a bigger screen Switch that looks more sleek, that's more powerful, blah blah blah. But it's also very possible that they just straight up have a dual screen. I could easily see it going either way. I don't know which one, but I can see it going either way so badly that I actually think they're gonna have two versions. And this is how it's gonna go. It's either gonna be a thing where they have two different Switch consoles at release. Kind of like how Sony does with the disc and the no disc version. That's $100 off. With the $500 and $400 version, one with a disc, one without a disc, the digital version, the non-digital version. I think Nintendo might actually do their first two different consoles of the same thing shit, where they actually come out with one that has a dual screen and one that has just a normal screen. That does seem kind of like, you know, weird. Like, yo, that means that anybody who comes up with games for the Switch 2, they have to have something. Their game is gonna have to be also take advantage of the dual screen, and it has to take advantage of one screen as well. That's like extra work. So that's the only reason why I think it might not happen. But I can see it happening though. Maybe Nintendo already let their developers and all this stuff know ahead of time what's it going to be like and what they have to do to implement it for the handheld dual screen version. But I could easily see them doing both. Either that, or they're going to release the normal screen Nintendo Switch 2 first, and then later down the line, you know, there's their Switch Lite that came out. They're probably their version of the Switch Lite for the sequel console is probably going to be the dual screen one, where the handheld version is going to be the dual screen one, and then the regular version is the normal screen one. I think that's actually the more likely scenario compared to what I said about the two different Switches. I think that's more likely than them just coming out with two different Switches at launch. But, you know, it's also possible that the Switch really does do that at launch and make it, you know, for the first time they have two different versions of a console. Not one more powerful than the other, just straight up, you know, one's dual screen and one isn't. And the one that's dual screen will probably be the one that's digital only. But I'm just spitballing here, I'm just guessing. I don't have no concrete proof. I just know that there's leaks of both versions out all over the place. The price, the how powerful it's going to be, the battery, the storage, and supposedly it's going to be 256 gigs, which that's unbelievable too. But it can go either way with this. Like, I have no idea which is true and which isn't. That's why I'm thinking it might be both. Since you're getting supposed leak images of both, are they fake? I think they're real. But like, which one did they go with? Maybe they went with both. That's what I'm guessing. And so the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2 rumor mill is out there. One thing I will say is there's no way in hell that the Switch 2 is going to be called the Switch 2. Usually they have code names like the NX. I actually thought the Nintendo Switch is going to be called the NX at one point. We were calling it NX for so damn long. But there's no way in hell the Switch 2 is going to be called the Switch 2. There ain't no mother knuffin' way. There's just no way. Nintendo is too imaginative. They're not boring. They've never named their consoles any numbers at all. Even Xbox goes out of the way not to number the console just so that you can't compare it to, you know, PlayStation and Sony. They go out of the way not to name the console. They'll give their consoles the shittiest names that any freaking company's ever named their consoles in succession. I mean, Nintendo had one bad name with the Wii U, which is real bad. Sony numbers their consoles so they can't have a bad name with their consoles. And Xbox decided to go on a streak, a whole winning streak of the worst named console year after year after year. First, the 360 was fine. That was just copying Nintendo. But then the Xbox One is like, this is your third Xbox. Why are you calling it the One? Because we don't want to call it the 3 because they were copying Sony. So call it the One. And then use the marketing campaign on the One or everything in one. It's like, that's stupid. And then the Xbox One X and then the Series X. And it's like, what the fuck? What do you mean the Series X? Like, what does the X stand for? You already called the Xbox. It's in the name. That letter X is already in the name. Why are you calling it X twice? Xbox Series X. The Series X, where's the fuck was A all the way to fucking... All the way to fucking... W... What's before X? U, V, W, X. Yeah, W. Where's A to W? Where the hell was A to W? Why is this called X? Because it's the Xbox. Yeah, but like... So what's the next one be called? The Nintendo XL? Anyway. The Nintendo Switch 2 is not going to be called Nintendo Switch 2. It's going to be called... They're going to keep the name Switch, obviously, but they're going to add to it. Just like they did with the NES, they called it the Super NES. Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Of course, the 64 didn't get... You know, they had 64 DD, which is a dumbass name too, but that never came to fruition. And then the GameCube was just based off the design. And of course, they had the marketing we would like to play, which is a good marketing campaign. The name was stupid, but like it was a good marketing campaign. The whole we would like to play. Like, okay, that was pretty clever. But then they're gonna keep the name Switch and they're either add the name before the Switch or after the Switch. It can be called, I don't know, the Ultra Switch, the Super Switch. They're not gonna use the name Super again. They don't like to repeat their names. They probably need to call it remember that 64 was nicknamed Ultra 64. All right, so I think this is going to end up being called some name with the word Switch, and it's not going to be the Switch 2. Nintendo's is way too imaginative to just start numbering their consoles after all these years of never numbering their consoles all the way from their infancy. But the whole dual screen thing does, does intrigue me. I don't know why they're so obsessed with it. The only reason I can think of that they're obsessed with doing a dual screen again is because the DS was so successful. The DS, they already have the motion controls from their second best-selling console, the Wii. Or I guess in this case, the third best-selling console now, because the Switch is the second best-selling. So I guess they already have the motion controls for the Wii. They're like, hey, let's add the dual screen from the DS, and we'll have pretty much our successful gimmicks all wrapped up into one console now. So I could easily see them doing it. I just don't know how they're going to do it. But, yeah, they seem obsessed with it. I don't know why they're obsessed with it. I think the DS was originally dual screen just to, be different from what the Game Boys were. The SP was, kind of the Game Boy Advance SP was just, first it was rectangular, and then they made a square that could flip open. And then they're like, hey, we like that flip open thing. Let's do it. But, what if we flipped it open and there's two screens, one underneath and one on top? And it was a creative thing to do to make it separate from the other Game Boy, because at that point Game Boy was a household name, still is. But it was, they're trying to differentiate. They always love doing something different. Nintendo, they like doing something different. In this case, they're not doing something different. They're just adding from what used to work back in the past. The Wii U was supposed to be the Switch, but they didn't have the resources to do it. Wasn't powerful enough, and it probably been too expensive, so they had to fucking fail with the Wii U and then revamp it with the Switch. But my only doubt of why they're obsessed with it is because it worked. There was a gimmick that worked once before real well. It was the best-selling console, and they want to do it again. But that I guess I answered my own question. I mean, the name of this video is why was their obsession with the dual screen? I guess I asked my question. It has to be because the DS was so successful. And I guess they could do a lot of creative things with it, and I guess so. Yeah, I just answered my own question by just yapping. And yeah, I think I've said all I'm going to say. This is Attack Monsters Back to Defense. I'm out. Peace.